I am very much just sort of standing in this moment of being able to sort of like talk about, being, a queer actor in the industry. And of course it's just something that is ongoing, in terms of the fact that people feel like that they can't be open about it, within the industry, I guess, for fear of how it affects your career. And I wish that those fears didn't exist.
Hi, this is Julia Fidel. I'm the head of Berlinale Series, and now I am speaking to one of the main cast of Russell T Davies' series It's a Sin, Omari Douglas, who plays Roscoe. Tell us a little bit about what the show is about in just a few sentences.
So It's a Sin it charts the journey of a group of 5 friends who all basically wind up living together in a flat in London. They're on the cusp of starting their lives afresh, really. They're all 17 and 18 and discovering who they are, and with their sexuality and their ambitions. And yeah, they grow up together. But of course, there is this thing that starts off looming in the background, which is the onset of the HIV/AIDS epidemic. And gradually it kind of lands into their lives, and they're all forced to deal and cope with it because it affects them in so many different ways. But it's basically just about being able to withstand all of those challenges and learn how to love more deeply, and just to be more kind. And yeah, they really, it's like a chronicle, really, over 5 episodes.
Yeah, and yeah, it is such a tough topic, but as you say, in the end, the overall message of the series is love and joy and friendship, and that is what is so beautiful about it, and also so heartbreaking. Tell us a bit about your role of Roscoe.
Yeah, so I love Roscoe because he is someone who really stands in their truth and is able to go out into the world with this great sense of confidence. Like, it's kind of aspirational in a way, because just from reading it, I thought, oh my God, like, this guy is like hyper confident, and it's amazing. But of course, what is sort of still important is that, like, he still has vulnerability as well. Roscoe's, I mean, like most of the characters, he's such a big dreamer, and he's got so many ambitions. So he's able to pursue them, often for Roscoe, kind of at the expense of sometimes like losing who he is along the way. And that's kind of the joy of the journey, that it gets a bit kind of complicated. And to be honest, it was really easy for us, because I feel blessed to have just kind of like been put with this group of people who are just so wonderful and amazing and incredibly talented, and I learned so much from them. The love for each other on screen is definitely, mirrored off screen. Like, it's, there was nothing artificial or fake about it. It was all real. The love was real.
And you really feel that, when you watch the show, this love and this overboarding energy and the friendship, it really transpires. It really comes across, and it really breathes all of that.
Richie, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
I want everything. West End, I want my name in lights, big movie posters with me on them.
It's a proper job. My worry is, are you a stupid tit who's going to run off with my money?
Damn, got me.
And you could be more assertive. What do you think?
Yes, sir.
I said you could be more assertive.
Yes, sir.
Who are you? What's your name? This is my property. What the hell have you been doing?
Here we are, the Pink Palace.
What have you learned from Roscoe? Is there something that he taught you, or yeah?
Roscoe definitely taught me about the value of sometimes being fearless, and the way that he expresses himself, and it was so admirable to me, particularly to do that at a time where people were being so kind of like violently vilified for being queer. And, I think the way that he stands up for himself and just kind of stands so boldly and proudly in who he is, I think that there's a lesson for us all in that, which is just, you know, you gain so much from life by being able to be your authentic self. And I think obviously that's easier said than done, because for a lot of people, they're not in an environment or a situation where they can sort of like live that life. Joy is what sort of like stands the test of time, really, isn't it? It's what brings people together. It's what brings them all together. They're all like-minded individuals, and that's what draws them together. So yeah, I've definitely learned to be like even a little bit more fearless, I think. I definitely got that from him.
That is good.
Yeah.
That is really great to hear. I mean, the story is set in the early 80s, and it is about the beginning of the AIDS pandemic. And did you know a lot about these early years and that history? Was there a lot that you learned during the making of the show?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess there's just certain sort of like staple images that have always been in my mind about sort of my HIV/AIDS awareness, or sort of where Britain was at the time. What I definitely didn't like have a grasp on was kind of like how specific the kind of trajectory of HIV/AIDS played out in the UK. No one wanted to talk about sex, which was really important to talk about if we were ever going to understand about the transmission of the virus. And then equally, no one wanted to talk about gay people or queer people. And of course, this was something in that moment where those two worlds were very much intertwined. Like, it wasn't exclusive to that community. And I think that element of it was what was weaponized at the time.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, it targeted that community, and the government targeted that community and alienated them and scared them, which in effect kind of scared the rest of the population. But I think it was almost a byproduct of obviously it was a responsibility when I took on this project. But at the same time, as much as you are compelled to get sort of swept away in all of that research and stuff, I think the immediate thing that was really important for us all was just to sort of get into the headspace of just being happy teenagers loving life, because obviously they don't know all of this stuff. Like, we look at a lot of this stuff in hindsight, don't we?
There's a lot of boys who go home these days, more and more of them, every month. And I don't think we'll ever see them again. Do you?
That cold came back, taking him into hospital. He said it was strange. He said it was some kind of psittacosis.
Well, like you're getting parrots. You haven't got a parrot, have you?
Of course we haven't got a fucking parrot.
Richard Tozer.
Don't die of ignorance.
What? Oh, I love it.
Do you smell clean? Come and sit over here.
Get out of my house. But I'm very good with tongues.
Haven't got long though. Quick shower, yeah?
Together?
Yeah? Have you seen this?
I think what the show did, and I find this really interesting, is really bringing all of this awareness and all of this queer history that is really relevant to, continue and bring to the forefront as well. And that again has, pushed this into our awareness, and he's really educating another generation which might have forgotten about it or might have never heard about this at all. And I guess there was something that you must have all experienced once the show came out as well, right? Because first it was all about you, and then the show came out. And what were the reactions to that?
Yeah, it's so interesting that you say that, because like, obviously the show focuses around this group of friends, but I think we were always aware from the very beginning that it was much bigger than, just us and like being a part of this project. And it's so personal to people, so personal to Russell. I don't know, it's just, it's really overwhelming, because as I said, these stories are personal to people, and there is probably something a little bit weird about seeing a part of your life that has been sort of hidden away or kind of like kept in the shadows suddenly being projected as this big, and it is a big television event, of course it is. So there is very much kind of like a duty in what we're doing. And I think that's always like it can feel like a rarity sometimes to kind of come across roles where you have that opportunity.
In Germany, 2 weeks ago, there was a big campaign from a major newspaper where close to 200 actors and actresses came out as being queer, and they were, talking about how this is still a huge taboo that people don't talk about, and they are being told to hide this. And it's also talking about the question of, should queer characters only be played by queer actors and actresses?
We are often told that we are not enough of one thing. So then to not have the opportunity to represent the thing that we actually are innately and inherently, it doesn't quite add up. I think it's a good way to honor the story by having people who have that connection to it, So yeah, I think it's just something that we should celebrate right now. And obviously I am very much just sort of standing in this moment of being able to sort of like talk about, being, a queer actor in the industry. And of course it's just something that is ongoing, in terms of the fact that people feel like that they can't be open about it, within the industry, I guess, for fear of how it affects your career. And I wish that those fears didn't exist, because they're there. I'd be lying if I said that they weren't. But unfortunately, I think that is a fear that, I don't know, the system, whatever that is, has created. So yeah, I stand with all of those, all of those your German actors in the community who've been able to step up and do that, because, as I said, it's a scary thing to do. You always feel like that there's going to be a consequence for doing something like that.
Just to give more of an idea about what a beautiful and fun to watch show this is, I wanted to ask you about the favorite moment, like when you think back and you think, oh my God, that was like the craziest moment, or the best, or
just all of those parties, and even just sitting around the table in the kitchen, just laughing and having those conversations at the dinner table. That was so much fun. And also another big kind of highlight moment for me is definitely the Heaven nightclub sequence in episode 2. We shot that, I think, quite early on in the shooting schedule. And it was just a crazy day. There were like hundreds of supporting artists there with us, and they were just like blasting out these tunes. And there's all this like crazy camera work going on, and we were just like running around trying not to get knocked down by the cameras, and we were just dancing. It's like, oh my God, like we're just clubbing for the sake of this scene. So it was just so amazing to experience that.
Omari, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your insights with us, and for everybody, go and watch It's a Sin.
Thank you.
Thank you.